Hi and welcome to another AVIDEngage video. My name is Marita, I'm the Victorian Community Development Officer with AVID, and we're coming to you today from our Bloomdale community in Diggers Rest, Victoria. I'm joined by Sean McCuckin from Dulux Group, who's going to help us out again with some more tips on our painting jobs.
Yeah, no, thanks Marita, great to be here with you again. In this video we're going to look at how to paint your doors, the trim, skirting boards and windows, and sometimes an area that's often skipped as part of the project because it can be a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks and hopefully allay those fears so that you can finish your painting project. So we've worked our way through in a sequential order. We've painted some ceilings, we've painted our walls, and we're ready to give a fresh coat of paint to all of our doors and trim.
Great, okay, so what is your tip for how to get started?
How to get started, there's two options here. We can either have our doors removed, so we would look at taking the doors off the hinges and take them into an open area, whether it's a nice day and you want to take it out into the yard or into a garage area that you've got a lot more area to, stack some doors up and to be able to work on those. What I will suggest, if you are going to take the doors off the hinges and take them somewhere else, is numbering the doors. You might think all the doors in your house are the same size, but I can assure you they're not. And if you've got 10 doors across your house, for example, they will all be slightly different size. So trying to get them back on to the right door frame will be quite a challenge. So it's as simple as a little bit of masking tape, write a number on it, stick it on the hinge, and away you go.
Okay.
The other option is painting them in situ, so painting them whilst they still hang. And you might think, what about underneath? We might get a bit of a mess on the carpet. I wouldn't use a drop sheet because they can tend to get caught up and dragged around in the door. I tend to use a piece of cardboard and slide that underneath the door, and that'll give you a good solid workplace to work from.
That's a good tip.
So then it comes to what we're going to actually paint the doors with. So here we have our Dulux Aqua Enamel, which is a water-based interior and exterior finish. This particular can here is the semi-gloss, but it also comes in a gloss finish. So that's personal preference there, whether you want it a little bit shinier. I tend to like the semi-gloss. It blends in really well with our low sheen or matte finish on the walls. So with this particular product here, being water-based, what we want to do with our doors is give them a thorough clean down first, and then make sure if it previously was painted in a high gloss or an enamel, an old oil-based finish, want to give them a really good solid sand, and we may also need to undercoat them with one of our special one-step undercoats prior to coating them in this semi-gloss aqua enamel finish.
That's a good tip. I would have just painted straight over.
Yeah, what can happen is if we paint over a shiny surface, unfortunately the paint will just scratch off. So we want to make sure that we're using an undercoat, or we're sanding at the very least, to get rid of that shiny surface and give something for the paint to actually hang on to.
Okay, that's great.
What we want to make sure that we're doing is, if we're painting the door frame, is again working in a nice even order. So we're working around the door frame, and with the face of the door, if it's still hanging there, we can paint around the edges and then roll the face of it. Now, different type of roller that we would use to what we would typically use on a wall and a ceiling. We would use a lower nap, so you can get a microfiber or a mohair roller that's got very, very fine bristles and nap on it to give you that really smooth, flat finish on the doors.
When we're doing our other trims and windows, what are your tips on those?
Yep, I'd be making sure that you use your masking tape to tape up around the skirting boards. Freshly mask around any of your flooring. So if you've got tiles, nice bit of masking tape there to stop the paint from flicking and getting on the tiles. Or if you have carpet, we want to lay some canvas drop sheets down there. And then around windows, we can tape up around the glass and around any furnishings. So the winder or the little hinges that attach to it, make sure that we tape them up so that we can brush around all of the windows and the frames.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've learnt a lot from you, and there's a lot of tips that we can take into our own painting journey. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on AVIDEngage.